Welcome to Switch Comics. My name is Marco, and we are back with another episode of Cover Junkies, the series where I take a look at some of my favorite covers, and today the covers we're focusing on are for Elsa Bloodstone, a character that I am obsessed with. I really like this character. Unfortunately, she has a very limited amount of covers to pick from, and some of them are fairly pricey, but I have some cheap ones, some good options for you if you're looking to get some budget ones, but also if you're looking for some of the rarer ones, I have those to show off today as well. So let's go ahead and kick into it with Marvel Chillers number 2. This is a cover done by Lusky, not familiar with the artist, but a pretty cool cover and a little bit of a unique one. So starting off, this is a $4 book, okay? This is an IDW, which if you're unfamiliar with IDW, you know, Marvel does most the Marvel comics, but IDW also does some, and they're a little bit more kid-friendly. Still some really good stories. I really enjoy this run. I highly recommend it. I think it's, you know, very overlooked because, again, it is a kids series, but I thought this Chillers run was super cool. She's not introduced until issue 2 here. However, I thought it was a really fun run. And it's a little bit different because you get to see a younger take on Elsa Bloodstone that you don't really get to see. I don't think anywhere else in any other comic. She's not in a ton of comics, and that's part of why, you know, there's a little bit of a small list to pick from here today. But I thought this was a pretty good cover, and I also kind of want to just talk to everyone about Marvel Chillers. If you haven't got to read that IDW series, I highly recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun, especially if you do have some younger kids, maybe want to try to get them into reading. But me, myself, as a nearly 30-year-old man, enjoyed the book as well. So moving on to Bloodstone number 1. Well, I guess it's technically called Death of Doctor Strange, Bloodstone number 1. And this is the A cover done by Nakayama. I love his work. Super amazing as always. Now this does double as a nice little key. It is the first appearance of Lyra Bloodstone, which is Elsa's sister, and a character I have a lot of high hopes for. I think I can't wait until they bring her back, but I think they're going to do some cool stuff with her. So far she's only been in this one comic, and it's only a $10 book right now. So, you know, pretty cheap. Really awesome David Nakayama cover to go with it, and yeah, you got a bonus little key factor to it. So, I mean, it's got a lot of good things going on here. Something that you like to see. Now, unfortunately, after this, we're going to be getting into expensive comics. So, for whatever reason... Now, granted, I did want to mention, I didn't put any of her original run on here, which is just a 4-part miniseries, which has some pretty cool covers on it. I can't wait to get my number 1 back from grading. However, I didn't put any on here on my favorite covers because, and I know this is something small and tiny, in the original run she's blonde and everything else she's a redhead. And I don't know, because she's a very fiery, you know, not angry, but just done with the BS type character, and the redhead really suits her with that. It just completes it, I think. And then also, you know, just the fact it's not like she went for many years as a blonde and then many years as a redhead. You know, she's pretty much always been a redhead, except for right at her beginning. So I like the choice, obviously, that they switched to her, and then, you know, she's got the big orange outfit as well all the time, so it's very iconically her at this point. So I don't have any of that on there, despite there being some cool covers. So definitely, if you want to check them out, there's some really cool. There's a really cool Indiana Jones inspired cover. I think it's issue 2 or 3. I can't remember now. But yeah, it's a really cool one too. So, but moving on to the first expensive one we have here, which is Deadpool number 1. This is the Christopher variant. And unfortunately, this book is going to be about $70 or so. Awesome cover. I love this cover. As soon as I found out about this cover, I owned this comic within a week. I think I had to get it. Awesome copper tone homage of the, you know, old commercial with I think it's a kid pulling down the bikini. Now, granted, I will say that this was close to perfection, because to truly make it perfect, you know, It should have been a little bit of a butt crack slipping out of there, as is with the thing. But I get it's a Marvel comic, and they censored it up a little bit. But you know, it is what it is. Also, like I said, Jeff the Shark pulling down the bikini, even though not really. Love Jeff the Shark, so this is amazing. For me, it was just a perfect. It was like, I get Jeff the Shark and Elsa Bloodstone, and it's just a beautiful cover. I have to get this one. It's near perfect, though. I wish there was a small revision made to it. Could have been just incredible. But regardless, still very, very awesome cover. And like I said, one that I'm very happy to have in my collection. And I want to get graded relatively soon. Just because I have a really nice copy of it. And it's a book, you know, I'd like to put on my wall. So moving on now, before we get to the next one, I do want to mention that I have been doing, I just started this week, but I'm making these little mini slab keychains. And so this is a Nightcrawler #1 that I actually made for my friend here. And I have many other designs. If you haven't checked out my Instagram, I have lots of pictures on there. So you can scroll through my pictures of the ones that I've made so far. You can also message me directly on there, and I'll send you kind of my catalog of what I have made. Now granted, if you have something custom you would like to do as well, I am taking custom orders. The regular keychains are $3 each, or 2 for $5. If you have something custom, it is $5 for a custom order. But I'm going to keep making more and more. So I have about 60, I'm going to say designs, because how I have to set it up, and I do a bunch of Photoshop. It's not just as simple as copy, paste, print, you know, like I have to set everything up and scale everything right. And there's a lot of, and I have to set them all on actually, here, let me show you. I have to set them all up on sheets, and then I hand cut them out and get it all together. So there's quite a bit of prep work that goes into it beforehand. So I have 60 designs so far, and we'll keep on making more and more, because obviously there's lots of cool, iconic comics that people would love. And this started as something that I was just doing as a little, you know, it's sort of something fun. And then all of a sudden, I have a notepad here with like 70, I think it's about 70 orders that I have to fulfill. And I was working on them all day today, and we'll continue working on them, waiting on some stuff to come in the mail to complete the orders. But yeah, just shoot me a message on there if you're interested in anything, whether it's something I already have pre-made, or like I said, if you have custom orders as well. Yeah, having a blast doing this, and it's been really awesome having all this awesome feedback. So let's go ahead and move to the final two covers, though. So we have Marvel Zombies #1. This is the Greg Land variant, which always nice to get a good Greg Land variant. I know there's a little bit of controversy with him about tracing and reusing positions and whatever, but at the end of the day, he makes really nice covers and art in general. So this one, again, we're on the expensive side. This was a 1:25 ratio, which for whatever reason. Now, granted, I guess to talk about Elsa Bloodstone a little bit, again, she doesn't have a lot of covers. She hasn't been in a lot of comics. She's just a character I think is really cool. You know, she's a monster hunter, and she's been used in those type of things of Marvel Zombies and you know, stuff like where she's hunting down things. I think there's a good shot we could be getting her in the MCU at some point. I wouldn't want to say a good shot. I want to say there's a shot, and I'm really hopeful. I guess is the best way to put it. Because, again, I do really enjoy this character. And there's been a lot of spec on her lately, which has kind of caused some of her very hard-to-find covers, because she's in kind of obscure books that, and especially these 1:25 ratios, there's not a lot of them, because not a lot of shops got the 1:25s of these kind of weirder things. But yeah, so this is a Marvel Zombies #1, the 1:25 variant, and it is about an $80 book. And it, you know, unfortunately, just a lot of her covers are just kind of pricey. There's another 1:25 that I didn't put on this list. And I don't know why. So again, so she's doesn't have a lot of covers to choose from, but a good majority of the covers she's on are 1:25s for whatever reason. I don't understand why. It's a bit frustrating, but it makes her covers that much harder to find, trying to get these obscure 1:25s. There was another one. It was oh, what was that event? Oh, I can't remember what the book's called now. It's Monster. Monsters Unleashed. There's a Monsters Unleashed 1 in 25 that's dumb expensive. Pretty cool cover though. Almost made it on this list, but it was hard to narrow it down to 5. There are some. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have took too much longer to get all of her covers on this list because again, she doesn't have that many. But again, super awesome. Just a nice little bit of a profile, just full body shot of Elsa Bloodstone on this Greg Land variant. I think is a super solid way to just be like, bam, here she is. You know, like she's very forefront in this one. And again, I think Greg Lane is a pretty good artist. So moving on to the final one, and this one we'll talk about here in a second. But the price was a little difficult for me to find. So this is Deadpool 2, the 1 in 25 Andolfo variant. I don't know if I said that right. I hope I did. But super fun. Which, by the way, great series. This was the Kelly Thompson run, which was where Deadpool was king of Monster Island, which was Staten Island. Elsa Bloodstone's a big part of it. Jeff Shark's a big part of it. Overall, really great series. Really short, though. My only complaint. It was 10 issues. It ended during King in Black. Just inexplicably. I don't know. I want more of it to come back. I thought it was a great run. I highly recommend the read. And again, lots of things that I was super into with Elsa Bloodstone. Jeff the Land Shark, Deadpool was super fun. A lot of weird, quirky monsters and stuff. It was just super fantastic read. But again, a great cover. Andolfo doesn't do a lot of Marvel covers. I really like the artwork from Andolfo, but it's just, I'm trying to think. There's a lot of like Sweet Paprika and other like weird things that Andolfo, or not weird. I don't want to say weird, but like. Not Marvel, you know, like other indie titles and stuff that Andolfo does. Kind of like, who's that artist? Frizen. I love Frizen's work, but a lot of the stuff that she does work for is just stuff that I don't go out of my way to buy. You know, like there was a Catwoman cover that came out this past week that was just a gorgeous Frizen cover. But it's like, man, I don't really want to buy it. And same with this. There's a lot of really cool Andolfo covers that I like. However, there's not a lot of Andolfo covers that I think look amazing, but isn't necessarily something that I want because it doesn't resonate with me, the subject matter. But this one, Elsa Bloodstone, super fun pose. I think it's super awesome. Unfortunately, with this book, it's just hard to find. So again, 1 in 25 ratio variant, and there's just not a lot to look at. As far as being on the market, and I didn't actually find any raw ones sold. I think I saw some 9/8 sell for close to, I think it was like $290 or something, so it was like about $300, something like that. And I was kind of looking at there are some raws listed. So with that being said, I'm saying this is roughly a $150 book. Yeah, the reason I throw these prices on here, just to let you all know, if you're interested in the book, just to give you a rough idea of how much money you might need to put down on these things. So this one was a little harder for me. I apologize, but it is a pretty hard book to find. And if you're crazy about Elsa Bloodstone like I am, I would highly recommend. It's hard for me to say. As far as an investment standpoint, because there's always a time to buy and a time to sell, and even if you're not a seller or flipper or whatever you want to call it. Knowing these times is still good to save you money. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're just buying books if you're a hoarder, you've never sold a comic in your life, you know, even if you have 18 of the same comic, you just can't sell it. Knowing when to buy is still very important. And so Elsa Bloodstone's at this weird point for me where there's a lot of hype around her books, and her books have gained a lot of value, kind of based on nothing. You know, there's just some people that'd be like, that'd be neat if she showed up. Now granted, yes, I think there's some basis for good, groundwork of speculation. We got a bit of spoilers here, I guess, if you're not caught up with all of Marvel, but Blade, Moon Knight, the Black Knight, they're all in London right now. Elsa is, I know she's British. I'm pretty sure she's from London. Well, raised in London, whatever, it doesn't matter. But anyway, so it could be a good point to introduce her in like a Marvel Knights type team or some sort, or Midnight Suns even, I guess, you know, whatever. I feel like she could definitely easily fit with that crowd, and despite not really normally being part of that team, with Marvel wanting to, you know, be more diverse, I think adding a badass monster hunter female would be a super, you know, right up their alley type move, and I'm all here for it, you know. So she is, I guess, I shouldn't say completely based on baseless speculation. She is going to be in the Werewolf by Night. I think it's an animated thing though, which isn't as big of a deal as her being in the MCU. That's not a reason for her books to explode in value. We see things, you know, ultimately a lot of the animated stuff doesn't really hold on to that certain type of value. Stuff like that Hit Monkey show and MODOK show, and anybody that shows up in any of that stuff, nobody ends up really caring too much. It might get a little spike, but yeah. But Elsa Bloodstone's books have been holding on to their value, even if, you know, maybe losing a little bit. But also I've seen some, like, I think her first appearance has still been going up in value, and it's insane. It's a book that I own at an okay grade. It's getting graded right now. Personally, you know, I think it's like maybe an 8.5 or something. Something around there. I would like to get a better copy, and I was like, I'll just hold off for it to dip back down, because that's, you know, that's the game. All books are always going up and down and everything. But that book, for whatever reason, is just been going not like crazy to the moon, but it's just like, you know, ever so slightly, just up and up and up and up and up. And as people, you know, speculate on different things and move from one thing to another, I thought Elsa Bloodstone would surely, she's so obscure, I thought she would have surely, you know, been kind of forgotten about by now. But maybe her obscurity is really helping her, because her books are just, in general, really hard to track down. She doesn't have a lot of cover appearances. Pretty much everything she's done has been nothing super huge. You know, she's never been part of any really big selling books or anything. So I don't know. We'll see. But that being said, so part of me wants to say, don't invest in Elsa Bloodstone right now, because the books are so, you know, historically pricey for her books. But another part of me is like, you should probably hop onto these if you are really truly interested, because a lot of them are so hard to find. If we do get her in the MCU, these books are going to go bananas. So, and I really like Elsa Bloodstone, so it's hard for me. Out of the books that I showed you here today, I have Marvel Chillers. I have the first 3. I don't have the 1 in 25 Greg Land or the 1 in 25 on Delpho. That being said, I want them. I just haven't found them at a good price yet. I'm highly interested. And there's another, like I said, there's a Monsters Unleash 1 in 25 that I want as well, but that is a very pricey book, because I don't think Monsters Unleashed was a popular series at all, from my understanding anyway. I don't think that sold very well, so the 1 in 25s are probably pretty scarce. But that's going to be it, though, for today. Thank you all so much for joining me for another episode of Cover Junkies. Like I said, message me on Instagram, or just check out my pictures if you're interested in seeing more about the mini slab keychains. I'll be continuing to post more and more pictures as I make more and more. I just printed out a lot of... I printed out 600 comic... on the paper side, I'm waiting on my shipment of keychains to arrive, which will hopefully be today. And then I'll be able to work on those tonight and throughout the rest of this week, and just keep making more and more and more. And it's something I'm pretty excited to have a lot of fun doing. So that's going to be it, though. Thank you all so much, and I will see you next time. Ha 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 ha!